Hello my lovelies, today's video is all about the new Creed Carmina, the new release, and what do I think about it, my little thoughts, my review, my experience with this fragrance. This is a very exciting release and I got a ton of questions here and on Instagram as well. By the way, my Instagram is the same as the channel name, so you can find me on there. But this fragrance I was really waiting for, and I just can't wait to tell you guys about it. So if you love fragrances and luxury, then subscribe to this channel. Now let's jump into this fragrance and what it smells like. I'll apply it here on my hand. Ooh, the sprayer. It's really nice, and they did improve the caps of these bottles. They're much more heavy, much more luxurious. And the first impression of this fragrance, as soon as I smelled it, I was like, oh, I love this. This is a rose scent. It's predominantly rose. And I'm not a huge fan of rose actually in fragrances, but this is my sort of a rose. And this is the first ever fragrance from Creed that is truly up my street. Like, this is what I love in a fragrance. It's a bit more dense. Usually Creed's fragrances are very bright, flowery, crisp. This is darker. This is a bit more syrupy, a bit more gourmand. I just love this sort of a fragrance DNA. So I'm like, oh, I am looking forward to what Creed is going to do with this whole line, because usually I prefer the men's Creed's fragrances, to be honest, to the women's, but this is an amazing release. I can smell a lot of cherry, the black cherries that are in the notes. It's there for sure. I love it. And there is this leathery facet to it running underneath the fragrance that makes it just warm and a bit more niche smelling, I would say. This leathery aspect is a bit raw and just makes the fragrance more darker. I would also describe this fragrance as juicy. You really just want to bite into it. It's very moreish. It's like, oh, I want more of this fragrance. And when I applied it and worn it, it really does last and stay on your skin for a long time. So longevity and projection is totally there for this fragrance, and I love that. And I perhaps wished that the opening of this fragrance would last more, because the opening, it's just magical. You're like, I want to smell like this. This is so good, and the saffron really comes out at you, and it's so good. When it kind of dries down, it's predominantly like a musky rose, a sweet musky rose. It's very clean and calming. It's very inviting, and I've heard, I've seen like on Fragrantica that people do say that this is similar to Delina. So I sprayed Delina and this fragrance together, and I was like, I get what they mean, because the rose, like, it's similar. It's very similar. You just, when you go between like going one fragrance and smelling the other, it's so similar. So the rose I get, but the whole fragrance, Delina is much fresher, and it doesn't have this leathery, darker aspect to it. So I don't think they're dupes. I think perhaps Creed wanted to make a very popular rose scent, but definitely not a dupe, and definitely doesn't smell the same. But as soon as I smelled this, I was like, oh, this reminds me of something. And it wasn't Delina, and I was trying to figure it out. And what I figured out, and actually the drying down smells very similar. The opening, maybe not so much, but the dry down, even my husband was like, this smells like the same fragrance. It's Cavort from Fragrance du Bois. And I kept telling you guys that I smell like cherries in the opening of this. So that is what ties them together, and also this leathery aspect. It is just juicy and dry and woody at the same time. So juicy, black cherry, but then like woody, and they both, the dry down is very similar. The opening is quite different, I will say. This one has much more of this like cinnamon spiciness to it, but they just, that rose, this is what I love in the fragrance. They're not the same, but I absolutely love Cavort and I absolutely love Carmina, and it's one of those fragrances that you'll for sure want to apply. It's sexy, it's sensual, I would say it's Moorish, it's a bit darker, perfect for fall and winter season, just gives you that a bit more grip, but also not too heavy that it rules it out from being worn in a spring, summer, especially if you live in colder climates like Scandinavia, then this would be absolutely no problem at all. I think I have to say this is my favorite Creed so far from the women's selection. I know that I'll be wearing it for years. I know I love this so much. I love the design of the bottle, and this is by far my favorite currently fragrance from Creed, together with the Windflowers going second place, but this is a strong first. It's so good. If you haven't smelt it, I highly encourage you to smell it because it's really good. If you've never been maybe into Creed fragrances, because they're a bit more light and they don't give you that gourmand rush that you want, this is on the way there, and you should for sure give Creed a chance and try this fragrance out. I believe they sell 30ml bottles and 75ml bottles at the moment, and if you want something that smells niche but isn't like wacky niche, because I think Creed does like really nice fragrances that are not like wacky. They're very pleasant and the compliment getting, just everybody will love the way you smell. This is a great pick, and I'll be wearing this one a ton, so you'll be seeing it in my videos. What do you think of the new Carmina fragrance? Have you tested it? Have you tried it? I didn't want to pull out a video without actually wearing it and telling you all about longevity, everything, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about Carmina down in the comments below, and I'll also link it for you in the description. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.